Good morning and welcome to Fort Langford. This is going to be our getting started with trapping video. And first thing we're going to talk about is supplies that we need. Just a basic setup to start trapping with. Well, the first thing you need is traps. And there's three basic kinds of traps that I use. One of them here, let me get that white rag out here. Show it like this. You got this we got this coil spring trap. It has two springs on the bottom and a pan, and it's a little bitty, very compact trap, and it's handy for not having to dig such a big set to put it in. And these ones I use for fox, raccoons, small coyotes. Big coyote might pull out of it, but I doubt it. But anyway, you have those, and they come in sizes. That's a 1.5. This is number 1. It's also a little coil spring, and I should have a white shirt on doing this, but it's too damn cold to put anything else on. We got trapping weather going on. Here, pretend I'm nursing a baby. There. We got a little bitty trap. That's number 1. And that's for your mink, muskrat, squirrels, whatever. Then you have double log spring. And this is a big old trap. This is a beaver trap. And beaver and wolf, big coyotes, I guess. I never used anything but beaver. And then we have conibears. Now, conibear is a kill trap. And those traps that I showed you before, those are foothold traps. Designed to catch an animal across the paw and hold them until you come there and dispatch it. And that's the way it's done for a lot of years. And a man named Victor Conibear up in Canada, he didn't like that idea of waiting so long to have an animal in trap overnight. And he wanted to dispatch them instantly. Well, there's two ways to look at that. You know, it's nice to not make them be in the trap for over long, but on the other hand, if you accidentally catch your neighbor's dog, you ain't going to let him out of a kill trap. But this is a number 110, and only has little springs on the side here. An animal sticks its head in that little square thing, hits the trigger, and it snaps down, hits his neck and chest, and crushes him. Kills them right away. This is a 110, that's for muskrat and mink. This is a 160, has same basic setup. Has two springs. This side is a spring before it's set. And this side is the spring after it's set. So you set both springs, and we'll deal with how to set it on the next video there. But anyway, animal comes through, hits the trigger here, and snaps this part, and it goes down around his head. And you got a dead animal. This is a 160, you can use this for small raccoon trap. And I've never caught, I've heard people say they've caught fox and all sorts of stuff in them, but I've never used them much, but they are available. And the big thing is, a lot of states it's illegal to use anything bigger than that 160 on a dry land set without a cage around it to make the opening to it no bigger than the size of that 160. Now, this here is another conibear, and this one's a 330, and this is strictly beaver and otter set. And in most states, you must use these at least half underwater. And there we go, we got some beaver fur on there and some dust on it, but this sets the same way as the other. Now these you need, when you go to set those springs, you aren't gonna just grab those in your hands and give her a squeeze. You're gonna have to have a setter that looks like a pliers, real long pliers to set them with. But I've got one on order, my old one got borrowed. But some of the other stuff we're gonna need here. You're gonna need a trowel. I like these log-handled trowels since I'm an old man and fat in the middle. What you're gonna use them for is dig a hole for your bait to go in and move some dirt so you can put your trap down. Then you need a hatchet for cutting steaks and poundage to make sure you get one with a decent back to it. A decent back here to it, a pole so that you can pound your steaks in the ground without hurting yourself. The trap stakes. Now there's nice stakes that you can cut wood stakes and they work just fine, but I like to use metal stakes, and I have a big old 8 or 10 by 13 bell back wedge tit that I used to use for doing rendezvous with, and I have a bunch of stakes from that. They work just dandy. They're all about 18 to 24 inches long. And when you're doing a stake, if you're working in hard soil like a clay or something, you can get by with one stake. But if you're working in sandy soil like I am, you get you one of these little butterfly stake holders. Put that on with a rivet on the end of your trap chain, and you can cross stake. And if you cross stake, you get a way better chance of finding your trap. Now, the other thing you might want to get, this is optional, but I like them to get you a pair of these. These are setters for those coil spring straps. You take them and put them on the ears of the springs there like that. It just makes it a lot easier to set. And you press down on them. And they have two ends. The two ends are different sizes for the different sizes of the little ears you're going to put them on. Now, another thing you want is a dirt sifter. Now, when you go to bed a trap, you're going to dig a little hole. Well, you dig that hole, you throw the dirt in this setter, and when you got your trap buried, you just put your dirt, your sifter over that, and sift the dirt back in there so it's nice. And get all the big chunks out so it don't get caught in the jaws of the traps. Another thing you're gonna need is lures. If you're gonna trap beaver, you need beaver caster. And this is from Marjana's Lures, and then I got Sardi's brand Coyote Glen Lure, and those work pretty good for them too. If we're using raccoon, I like to use some marshmallows. It's the best raccoon bait I ever found. Some of the other stuff. Need a pack basket. We talked about that in the last video. And you need a sled to haul all the stuff in. Now you'll come to some places where staking a trap just ain't possible. So you want some wire like this number 11 gauge wire. Any of the trapping supply stores will sell it. And what you want it for is to tie your trap down to a tree or the like. Now, here's something that's handy that I've never actually used, but I'm going to start using it because I always made my own before. This is a whole lot handier. These are slide wires. You put one end to the trap, you put another end, the other end here, to a bag of old rocks or whatever. You toss that end out in the water, deep water. You put the other end to something on the bank, stake or branch or sapling or something. It's got a little L-shaped piece of metal here. See if I can show it to you. Right. A little hole in it. Well, you tie a piece of wire from on your beaver trap. You'd be using a long spring or a big coil spring. You go from, where is my white there? This little knob to wire these two together. And when the beaver steps in the trap, he goes down the wire. But because with the little L-shaped piece of metal on there, he can go down, but he can't pull it back up. And so it drowns him a lot quicker that way. Now let's see, what else can we talk about here? Oh, a sled. Get a good sled, like if you can afford it, get an otter sled, a big one, because you're going to need to haul all that stuff around. And of course, since you're the world's greatest trapper, you're going to need to haul your stuff out of the woods. And sled makes it a whole lot easier. Now, a lot of guys, they'll trap and they'll just skin out right there and leave all the meat and everything behind. Well, I don't much like doing that. I kind of like using everything I can, so I end up bringing home a lot of animals. And it's also being old and not doing cold like I used to. It's a whole lot nicer to skin inside a heated fur shed than it is to stand outside up to my ass in water trying to skin beaver, you know. And but anyway, oh, I knew something I forgot. You know, it's wintertime, you're gonna have snow on the ground. And you're also gonna have sunshine. It's a terrible thing, you know, you better have some sunglasses on. So if you want to impress the kids, get you a good pair of sunglasses. But if you really want to impress the kids, and the neighbors, and the DNR, or game wardens and such, get you 2 pieces of wood, cut a slit in them, blacking the inside of them on the fire, and scrape them down to where they're black, good black. Make sure the insides of these slits are black. You just put them on. Where am I? There we go. You have to take your glasses off, but you put these on, tie them on the back of your head. That was the original sunglasses. They don't work all that great, but they'll keep you from going snowblind, which is a real thing on the trap line. And at least if you're trapping in snow country. Well, I'm sure I forgot a half a dozen things that I wanted to have on here, but we're going to cut this off for now and see how well we do. Thank you very much for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe.